Hi, it's JoseMcCree5.com, and I hope all the revelers from Mardi Gras are feeling well today. And if you haven't had a chance to check out any of the coverage from my buddy Tom Martin from live streaming, I really think that you should, because once again, he has captured the whole experience of Mardi Gras. With that, I would like to talk a little bit today about an agenda. We all have an agenda to achieve that ultimate goal, that plan of where we're going and how we're going to do it. And I have 3 examples here that I thought were better served in video than in written. Let's see. We have an agenda to get to an end goal, but we don't always achieve that because sometimes things go a little awry. And that is where my first one is going. Last week, we had heard where Mike Huckabee was pretty much calling out Natalie Portman for having a child out of wedlock. And then he said, no, that's not what I meant. Just talking about single mothers, how they tend to be uneducated, and if it wasn't for public assistance, their children would be starving. Okay, he said many. I guess maybe I'm a little more sensitive to that because I'm a single mother. And I never had gotten married. However, holding 2 full bachelor's degrees and being 18 credits shy of a third, I certainly would not find myself uneducated. And there's no doubt that my son is not starving because he has never said there's nothing to eat here. There's always more than enough food. I recognize and understand what he was doing. It probably was twofold in the sense that he was trying to promote a book, so he needed to be able to say things so that he could get the public appearances, but yet at the same time, and not to make this political, but the whole movement seems to be get big government out of things. And it just hit me in a way because he's not getting the whole experience of, he was trying to promote a book, but at the same time trying to promote some sort of agenda. And the reality is that we know in marketing, you have one message and you promote one thing. So I guess maybe that's a little bit more of a personal thing for me. But at the same time, I recognize he did say many, but many kind of means if I had many in this hand, I probably have less in this hand. And with that, I think that there are many very educated single mothers whose children are very far from starving, but at the same time, I could see where there might be some that are on the other end. Instead of offering a means of change, he just continued to try to go on a path. The other one that we're experiencing right now here in Southern Nevada is we have the worst school system in the entire United States. We rank last in everything. And one of the high schools right now has decided that they're a target, so every single teacher needs to reapply next year for their job, and only 50% of them will be kept because they're in the, I think, the top bottom 5. Is that really solving the problem? The agenda for that is to make the school system better and make that school better. But by firing the principal and making everyone reapply, is that going to change the experience for the students? Here in Southern Nevada, they require that anyone in high school pass a proficiency exam. So as I understand it, you could take it sophomore year, junior, and senior year. And any time that you pass it, you would be eligible to graduate. So if you're a very poor test taker and you can't pass that exam, despite the fact passing all your classes, you can't graduate, which then in turn pushes up the dropout rate. So I understand where they're going, and they have that agenda to make change, but yet is that the most effective way? Because that's not the only school that this is going to be happening to. And then my third is when you have an agenda and you are incredibly focused, that will get the end result, and we're seeing it happen right now, is Gary Vaynerchuk, fellow New Jerseyan, woohoo! He's trying to buy my beloved Jets before I can. And he probably is on the right path before I am. However, they're mine. I'm older than you, Gary. They're mine. We've been together for many years. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, to that end, Gary has a new book out, Thank You Economy, and is getting great reviews. I have not read it yet. I haven't even purchased it yet, but from everything I'm hearing, it is definitely on the list. I have some above it that I have to read, so it's coming. But Gary is going out and he's promoting a book. His agenda is to get it out there, get his message out there, because to sell more books, to make sure everyone understands that he is there and it is a book that needs to be read. How incredibly smart is he? He has stayed on the same path, same agenda, and he's getting results. He was number 6, as far as I understand, within the past couple hours. He probably, at this point, maybe even could be higher. He was telling people, sorry if it's not there, check it out, the Hudson News. He was all over it. One message, one goal. So his agenda is to sell books, to get it out, and for all of us to talk about it and get the book sold. So you're looking at 3 different things, all of which, to a certain extent, are personal to me. One kind of struck a nerve as a single parent. The status of the education system in Southern Nevada. I have a child in the system in Southern Nevada, the school system. That affects me. And then Gary selling books, well, of course it affects me. The more books that he sells, the closer he's going to be getting to buying my team. Okay, maybe that was a little extreme, but the point is, we just looked at 3 different ways of trying to capture something, and having 2 messages, neither of which have amounted to anything. We're looking at a school system in failure that's taking extreme measures only to try and make change, when the reality is the change, you're going to try to change to bring in new teachers to teach your children how to test better. Is that really where we're going? And then, of course, the successes of Gary, because if you really think about it, who was going to sell a book better than Gary Vaynerchuk? Probably nobody. So I think the big lesson here is learning from all of these experiences and saying, hey, wait a minute, I do have an agenda. How am I going to achieve my goal? Am I going to stay on track? And really, my focus is always ultimately to get to that goal. There will be little sidetracks, but yet, when you stay on track and on focus, as Gary has proven, you will get results. So you tell me, what is your agenda? How are you going to get it? And where do we go from here? Thanks so much. Suzanne from Creative5.com.